What if the biggest plot twist in today's tech war is that coming in second might actually be the smartest move on the board? While Washington spends billions and burns political capital trying to lock down first place in artificial intelligence, Beijing seems perfectly happy to cruise just behind. Stick around. In the next few minutes, you'll see how that seemingly modest strategy could upend global chip markets, rewrite supply chains, and sneak Chinese silicon into devices all over the world, possibly including the one you're watching on right now. Picture last week on Wall Street. News breaks that the U.S. has tightened export rules again, choking off NVIDIA's H20 chip. The fastest inference-optimized card Americans were still allowed to sell in China. NVIDIA instantly warns investors of a multi-billion-dollar revenue hit. Its stock stumbles. Rival AMD takes collateral damage. From DC's viewpoint, the logic is obvious. Starve China of premium chips, stay on top. But here's where the story swerves. Training the world's most advanced AI models, the ChatGPTs and Gemini-sized giants, soaks up colossal amounts of computing power. Yet once those models are built, the everyday task of inference, letting the model answer your prompts, draft your emails, write your code, requires far less horsepower per request. Industry analysts now expect inference to swallow around 70% of all AI compute demand by 2026. That's the lucrative mass market phase, and China is laser-focused on it. Enter DeepSeek, China's open-source answer to GPT-style models. Because the code is public, developers from São Paulo to Singapore are already fine-tuning it for chatbots, translation tools, you name it, without paying hefty license fees. Every extra workload that shifts onto DeepSeek is one more stream of inference traffic flowing through Chinese data centers. And guess what powers those racks? Increasingly, it's homegrown silicon. Huawei's Ascend 910C now delivers roughly 60% of NVIDIA's flagship H100 performance on inference tasks. More than good enough, when you can buy twice as many for the same price. Huawei just unveiled its Cloud Matrix 384, an entire server node packed with Ascend chips that, on some benchmarks, outguns NVIDIA's latest GB200 supercluster. It draws more electricity, sure, but China has no shortage of coal, nuclear, or solar capacity to feed the beast. Meanwhile, Washington's brand-new AI diffusion framework extends chip restrictions beyond China to dozens of so-called Tier 2 countries: India, Malaysia, Singapore, the UAE, and more. Those nations have big dreams of becoming regional AI hubs, yet they now face a closed American door. Where do they shop instead? Chinese vendors, of course, often at a discount, bundled with support, financing, and smiles that say, "Welcome to the club." Huawei isn't acting alone. It's front and center of a 2,000-company coalition aiming to make China 70% self-sufficient across the entire semiconductor chain by 2028. In practical terms, U.S. sanctions just created a massive guaranteed customer base for every domestic chipmaker willing to fill the gap. Demand drives innovation. Innovation attracts talent. Talent builds better chips. Rinse and repeat. So, why might finishing second be brilliant? Lower burn rate. Let the U.S. bleed on the bleeding edge. China can adopt open-source breakthroughs at a fraction of the R&D cost. Regulatory cover. By sitting just below the flashiest frontier, Beijing dodges some, not all, but some, of the harshest geopolitical spotlight. Market flood. If Tier 2 and Tier 3 economies can't get American silicon, Chinese suppliers become the default store. That's hundreds of millions of extra customers, right as inference demand explodes. Here's the kicker. By steering global workloads toward inference, where its domestic chips shine, Beijing reshapes the very playing field Washington hoped to dominate. It's like sacrificing your queen in chess and winning with a pawn promotion 3 moves later. Sneaky, efficient, and oddly elegant. Where does that leave the rest of us? The US still commands the fastest, most sophisticated AI hardware on Earth. But every new restriction nudges the world's hungry developers, startups, and cloud providers toward Chinese alternatives. Your next virtual assistant, your next streaming recommendation engine, your next smart city traffic light could be running, at least partly, on technology built in Shenzhen, not Silicon Valley. In other words, the race isn't always to the swift. Sometimes it's to the player who rewrites the course map while everyone else is sprinting. If this behind-the-scenes power shift gave you a fresh angle on the AI rivalry, drop a like and hit subscribe. I'll keep unearthing the stories that shape the tech you use every day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.